So today we're going to have an awesome Transformation Tuesday because we have our Zambia ambassador, Redken artist, and sheer art salon owner, Becka Bradshaw with us. This passionate, creative, inspiring person is such an incredible educator when it comes to design and finishing. She's also a licensed barber, so she's got all the licenses, and she really aims to arm her students with new tools and techniques to better approach challenges and leave you really inspired, which I think you are going to definitely find that today because she even brought a live model with her friend Tingy. So let's please, Lingy, not Tingy, Lingy. Let's welcome Becka and Lingy.
How is everybody? Hi, Andrew. We're so happy to be here. We've got Lingy. So Lingy always gets this little like wolf cut shape. It's so like cute, so textured. But here's the challenge that so many of us face is how to recreate something like this when it comes back in, or when the guest comes in with a challenge with their wolf cut shape. How do we edit just those pieces of it to make it even better? So what we've kind of been looking at, I'm going to turn you slightly to the side, Lingy. So we've got a lot of this layer up in the front here that's getting a little heavy and a little weighted. Hey, Juman. Hey, Kat. It's so nice to see everybody on this morning. So we have a lot of texture that's going on through the back and through the nape area, but we really need to pick up this top. So we're going to get right at it. I'm going to show you exactly how it is that I part. And the first thing that we want to do is we want to separate the two sides. So we're going to separate left from right. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to separate the front from the back. So as I separate front from back, I just want to make sure that I'm looking at where the hair starts to get really weighted. And we already sort of agreed that the hair is getting really weighted right here in this top area. So if we can find at the parietal ridge where it's starting to round, this hair down here is affected by gravity a lot more. Lily says that she likes your color, Lingy.
Oh, thank you.
So Lingy's a hairdresser as well, a stylist. So she specializes in a lot of blonding, a lot of fashion colors. She also cuts hair in the salon. But you know what a huge compliment it is when you have another stylist come in to ask you to do their hair. So
wouldn't trust anybody else.
Love it. So take a look. We're looking right here at this hair above the parietal ridge, and we're looking at how it's getting weighted. So we're going to take this, and we're going to take this all in one section, friends, because would you agree? Let me put you back forward and show you that it's getting a little bit square in this shape, and we might want to round out the shape a little bit more. So Rula asked us, how would we section the front and the top? We have it divided down into just 4 quadrants right now. So it's divided front to back, and then top of the ear to top of the ear. So that's exactly what we're going to be working on, the front right quadrant. So everybody say front right quadrant if you can hear me in the chat. All right. So this front right quadrant, we're going to elevate it, and we're going to elevate it all the way up, and we're going to elevate this until it comes all the way over to the other side. So once we have it over on the other side, that's where we're going to actually cut it. Very nice. Front right quadrant. So we're going to elevate it all the way up and all the way over. And then we're going to start to look at where we want the shortest layer to be. So Lingy and I have talked about this, and right now she's okay with kind of growing the bottom, but taking the layers up just a little bit. So we're going to take this very first piece of it, and we're going to test. Like, are you okay with your layers shape starting right here, like around your eyeball?
Yeah, that looks good because it'll blend in with the corners of my bangs.
Perfect. So this is why I always say dry cutting is something that can be so collaborative between you and the guest, right? So we can look at it and we can see exactly where we want to take that little guide. So I'm going to recommend when you take your guide, what we want to do is we want to come in with a tool that's going to make it soft. So we're going to be using just the Zambia razor, the swivel razor here, to kind of take a really soft guide and just take the guide right here at the corner of the eye. So you can see there's a little bit of hair that's starting to fall, and this will be our guide. So nice, Lily. We're asking already, like, do I have to pivot around this area? So here's one of the great things that I want to show you. We're going to be doing a type of elevation here that we call in Redken language swelling. So swelling means that we take it and elevate it, and we elevate it all the way up, all the way up, all the way up, until it goes all the way over the top of the head. So if you can see it, we're going to take it and we're going to take it all the way over to the top of the head, and we're going to cut it on the opposite side. So if we're cutting this in the salon, we're standing on the opposite side right there, but we've got our little guide. We'll have our guide coming in, and then we're going to come and we're just going to cut one section. So it is only going to be one section that's going to come off right now. So we don't have to pivot in this area, Lily. All we have to do is cut this one section. So now we could go in and we could take a bunch of little like point cuts as we're coming across, but because this section is so elevated, it's going to be really soft as it is. So we're about to see 2 inches here, 1.5 inches, Lingy, hit the floor. Is that okay? Feeling good?
Oh yeah, feeling good.
Okay, excellent. So again, that collaborative exercise there with that dry cutting, you can ask the guests before you see that hair hit the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and we'll take a look and show you what we've got on this side, on that right side. So see how it's starting to pop up on this side already. We're loving that. So we've got a little bit more texture on this side, and we still have a little bit of flatness on the other side. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to part off the other side of the hair, and we're going to do the same exact thing. So we're going to push Lingy over here to the side. Remember that we're working within quadrants right now. So we're working within quadrants right now. Very, very simple. And all we're taking is everything above the parietal ridge. So everybody say parietal ridge in the chat if you can hear me. So let me show you the parting again. There we go. We've got the front left quadrant that we're working on right now. So we're working on the front left quadrant, and we're going to take all of this hair up that doesn't belong to the fringe right now, because we'll take a moment and we'll blend that fringe in as soon as we're done with this. So remember, we're doing swelling elevation here. We already had like our little guide from the one side. We can kind of measure our guide from the other side, but we have a general idea of what needs to come off is right there at that corner of the eyeball at the fringe. So look, this is exactly how we would stand in the salon. Tara, I love that question. Would I take the whole section for somebody who has thick hair? So Tara, we can always go in and subdivide this section down if we want to, but eventually this whole section is going to end up combed all the way up and over, and it's going to end up at this horizontal 90, just like this in the palm of my hand. So this is exactly how I would be standing in the salon. I'm going to be standing right here at her right shoulder because I'm cutting the left quadrant. All right. If you're with me, give me a thumbs up in the chat. Awesome. So see, we can look at our guide right here in the corner, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to come in and just release that little bit of hair again. Oh, fun to see some hair hit the floor. We'll have it stand up right there too. And now we can start to see and make sure that it blends and it visually matches side to side. That's what we're looking for. So nice job. I see you, Lily. I see you, Joey. I see you, Dee. How are you all doing this morning? You enjoying your live education day? All right. What do you think, Lady? You can see it in the monitor, right?
Feels good, yeah.
Yeah. And what about checking this mirror really quick over here?
Yeah, feels good.
Yeah. So I have the studio set up with a bunch of mirrors here, the same that we do for the salon. And this is kind of the same way that we would do in salon, is we would check in with the guest as we're going along, as we're dry cutting. Awesome. So let's take a look. We've got just a little bit up here that might enjoy to have a little bit more texture. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll go ahead and we'll look at the fringe. So we'll divide it back down into our quadrants. And remember, when we place texture in the hair, it's going to be the most perfect if we put it back into the elevation where we cut it. So I'm going to take those little pieces on the top where they look the most solid. I'm going to elevate up and over where it was before. And now I'm going to pull out my blending shear. Yes, Paula, that is what we love about swelling. It's minimal cutting and it is maximum impact. And so, yes, hi, Sierra. We see that you have a question. Go ahead and ask your question, and we would love to get to that. So here's that one little solid line. We're going to be using our Invisablend shear. So if you can see the Invisablend shear, it is going to be the top teeth of that shear that are actually cutting, and the bottom blade of that shear is pushing. This shear is perfect for fine hair, like Lingy's, like mine, even like with a little wave in it. So we can come in here and we can just kind of pop that a couple times, and then notice what's happening is we can just comb out that little bit and go back in as many times as we need to kind of soften that line up. So sometimes we love a really heavy blending shear. Sometimes we need something that's a little bit lighter. Anytime you have fine hair, anytime that you have, blonded hair. Blonded hair is a great place to use this. Do you use these in the salon?
I do.
The Invisablends?
They're wonderful.
I'm a big fan. It is one of the things that I carry consistently with me in my little Sambia shear pouch that's happening here. Okay, perfect. Oh, hi, Lily. Lily says, how long have I been a hairdresser for? I was just thinking about this the other day. So I've been a hairdresser for what seems like a million years, but I think in reality is about 12 years. So again, we're going to take the other top of the left quadrant. We're going to rotate Lingy slightly to the side, and we're going to come in here, and I'm going to show you the two ways that I'm using this. So I'm using this both horizontally, right? And then I'm also using this vertically into the hair. So sometimes that's a great choice when you have fine hair to bring your blending shear and take it in vertically rather than horizontally. Okay. So Joey says that, that for Sierra, I'm in Delaware and I graduate school soon and I still haven't done many cuts and I have a lot of trouble doing the front, losing the guide and just joining the live and nervous about the boards. Oh, Joey, I love this story because I'm just going to share with you really quickly that I was so nervous about my boards when I took them. It had to have been 12 or 13 years ago. So 12 or 13 years ago when I took my boards, I was terrified that I was going to cut myself. So we all do that as stylists, right? Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, this is Sierra writing for Joey. Practice, 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 practice. So as many times as you can, I would just grab a mannequin. So I know that we're working with a live model today and we love our live models, but I owe so much in my career to actually working with mannequins. So whatever the cut is that you're working on, cut it once on that mannequin and then go back the next day and cut it 1 inch shorter and then go back the next day and cut it 1 inch shorter. Time yourself each time. And I'm sure that you're going to start to see an improvement as you're going along there. So we're working with the fringe next. Sam, you work out every day on your mannequins. See, listen, it's the same thing as building muscle, right? When we go to the gym, we build physical muscle, and sometimes we build muscle memory within our hands. So those mannequins, I know, Sam, I owe so much to those mannequins. Get yourself a really nice pivot point mannequin and get in there and just keep cutting it 1 inch shorter every day and time yourself. Time yourself and then take a look and write down what it was that you grew from that day. By the end of a week, I promise you, you will have made some huge, huge strides. Oh, Sierra, you're so welcome. You are so welcome. We're here at the Sambia community to support you. So take a look. These fringe are looking really great, Lingy, but
just a little too long.
yeah, they're a little bit in your eyeballs. So I'd love to see those beautiful eyes a little bit more so we can kind of take them and move them up just a little bit. So while we're on the same vein, let's make sure that we're doing minimal cutting and getting maximum output with whatever it is that we're going to be cutting. So this is a curtain fringe that we're doing. And we always kind of do these little like curtainy fringe, and then sometimes we'll go in and we'll make little like pieciness out of them, especially in the center. I affectionately call them like the weed whacker bangs. They remind me of Lydia Dietz from Beetlejuice, which is one of our favorite movies, right? Favorite. So here's what we can do. We can actually take this whole fringe section and we can take it in one section. So how many sections? One section. So I love when I'm dry cutting to recommend that you're using a really sharp shear. So you're using a really sharp shear to do that, and you can use a regular shear. I personally love to recommend the Artist Series shear from Sam Villa because it's nice and sharp and it will just slice through that hair really easily. But we also have a dry cutting shear in both our classic series and our signature series. So go check them out on the website and look at those features for those dry cutting shears. So one section for the fringe, right? Look at how we have it gathered together. Can you see how it's gathered together right in the center? Because she has a center part here. So we're going to gather it together in the center and we're going to elevate. So I'm going to spin you to the side towards me so I can show you where I have the elevation at. So right here is the horizontal 90. So that's horizontal 90. We're going to elevate it above the horizontal 90 in order to get this shape. So if you take a look at it, you can see our previous shape in there. It is short at the top and it is long on the bottom. And now remember, I've got my guides that are happening from my layers that I've cut up here. So I'm going to start cutting at the top just by doing a couple little slices into it. So you can see how it works. If you want to slide out, you can cut from the top and move it right back, just like that. You'll start with the shear almost. I've got a little like a towel right on deck for Lingy because here's the thing. If you are going to cut your guest's fringe dry, you need to prepare them for what that might look like. We have shields that we can have go over the face, but then sometimes they pull off a little bit of her makeup with it. So today we opted not to do that, just so she'll be as comfortable as possible. So again, we'll look at that little guide up at the top and we'll come in with the shear almost parallel and we'll start to just tap it as we move it out. So that's where we're blending that guide with the rest. We can also fan this area so you can see it. We can fan this area out and we can do a really deep point cut into them. Sometimes it's the easiest for us to just go blunt and then go back and put the texture in as we're going along. So let's go ahead and we'll just do that. We're going to take off, let's say not even an inch off of these. Does that sound okay?
Sounds great.
Yeah.
I've had them pretty short. I've had them pretty long.
Right. Awesome. Joey, oh no, Sierra again says that they love dry cutting. It's easier than wet cutting. I think that's such an interesting point, that it's easier than wet cutting. I don't know that one is necessarily easier or harder, but I do know that my guests appreciate seeing what's going on right away. So remember, we've cut this line and we've cut this line blunt. We have shorter at the top, longer towards the bottom, just by pure virtue of our finger angle here. And we are elevated at about a 45 above the horizontal 90. So we're going to go in with our blending shear from the signature series because we're going to take a little bit more weight off of the ends of this fringe. And the reason that we want to do that is we want to go in here and we want to make them look almost as if they're razored. But we get a little bit more longevity on curly wavy hair if we're using a blunt tool. Would you agree with that?
Definitely.
We live in the state of Florida. So it is like there's moisture, there's water in the air, water in the hair all the time. Water everywhere. So this morning it was so foggy. When we were just talking about this, like our hair is like damp from it being outside.
Can't even see like you're like 2 feet, like 20 feet in front of you.
So quite often we need to work with texture in these sort of environments, and we need to work with texture in a way so that it has longevity. Sometimes those razored ends, they end up getting to be a little bit too much for Florida.
Becca, I might have missed it. Did you happen to address Lily's question about how do you keep your eye on your guide?
Awesome. No, I don't think that I did. Thank you for bringing that up. So Lily, how do I keep my eye on my guide? It's a very great question, right? So you can usually see where the guide is going to be. Like, see, these are the shortest little areas that we have, and we know that we want to kind of match it from there. So as we elevate it, I will take a look right at that guide, and I might even put my finger on it or the little tip of my comb on it so I can see it. And then I'll move my comb so that it matches with the finger angle there. So I'll be careful to point out my guide as I'm going along. With this fringe just now, I did not take a guide on the face. We elevated it and we took a guide from the back where the layers were. So if I were to take a guide from the front, I would again do that with a razor. So I'm going to let you wipe your face if you need to.
Just a little bit. All right.
So I prepared her with a little microfiber towel so she could get in there and wipe it.
Much better.
All right. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to let you check in just a little bit with this fringe over here. I'm going to take out these clips that are like placeholders for me, and I'm going to let you check in with the fringe and then let me know what it is that we might want to do. So again, remember, friends, that dry cutting here is this collaborative exercise between you and the guest. So they're able to see exactly how it is.
Those layers look so good.
Yes! You can see it doing that little
top.
push and that little pop that's happening. It's exactly what we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
How's the fringe looking?
The length is still a little long.
Right.
But other than that, like the layers through the fringe look great.
Perfect. So
Becca, can I make a comment real quick?
Please do.
I love what you're doing with her. And I'm not sure if people are picking up on this, but this is such an essential client relationship thing that Becca is doing so naturally that you might not be noticing. But she is constantly checking in with the guest. How does that feel? Have them touch it, by Wingy actually touching her hair in the way that she styles it instead of the way that Becca styles it. We can actually see how it's going to look on the client. So I just wanted to bring attention to it because you're doing it so seamlessly that it might go unnoticed.
Oh, thank you, Andrew. I think that's huge. And when I teach associates in the salon, I always let them know, and you've heard me because we teach associates all the time. So I'm always like, it's their hair. Let them touch it. It's there. So I'm like, I'm going to return this to you for a second, because how is it that they're going to check in with it if we continually touch it? So we have to be able to do what we're doing, then step back a little bit, and then step back in where we need. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for bringing that up. I think this is exactly what we're talking about when we're talking about this being a collaborative experience. So remember, we've cut only layers at this point. So what we need to do now is we need to cut the perimeter of this fringe just a little bit. So you were saying the length is a little bit long. Yes. Do you feel like it's long just in the center or long everywhere?
The side length is good. It's more so right here.
So right in
like the middle, because it always ends up like that.
Okay.
And I like to wear it as a fringe for the first couple weeks.
Perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here. We're going to divide down the center, and we are going to just trim the length or the perimeter. So we worked on the silhouette, we worked on the texture of the haircut, and then we're going to, last but not least, work on the perimeter. So we'll take that down the center. We will take the left side and we're going to move it just slightly, over direct it towards the other eyeball. So we'll take it towards the other eyeball. The side of the fringe, Lingy said, was good, but the center needs to be shorter. So we'll have that within our finger angle. And we'll be able to look at that. I'm going to pop out my fourth finger here so I can do some little like point cutting. And, ooh,
Cute.
that length looks so much better, don't you think?
Looks way better.
Awesome. So now we'll take this centerpiece as the guide. Ooh, I love this little like pieciness that happens in there. And then what we'll do is we will take the the right side and over direct it to the opposite side, the left side. I was like, I'll get it one of these days. So again, we're going to take this right side, we'll over direct it slightly in front of the other eyeball. And then remember what we're going to do is we are going to have our finger angle help us out. So it's shortest in the center, longest on the edge, and the length on the edge was doing great. So what we'll do is, again, pop out that fourth finger. If you're in there and you're wanting a little bit of help with your point cutting, make sure that you give your shear a place to rest. So that way you can point cut on the way out rather than on the way in. This will save you a lot of Band-Aids if you catch my drift. Ask me how I know. No, really, ask me. I've definitely made that
How do you
mistake.
know?
I've made that mistake before, Andrew. I've cut on the way in, and then you end up with those cute little V-shaped marks from the really sharp shears that we have here.
Oh, I got quite a few of those. I got that one.
That's how you know a hairdresser right there, for sure. So the front of the hair is looking great. I'm going to let you check in with it really quickly in the mirror and see if you want any of these perimeter pieces cleaned up or if they're feeling really good right now. So again, you can see what Lingy is doing at this point is she's checking in with how her hair is moving and how it is that she's able to kind of pull these pieces out at the sides. I really like how those are living, don't
I
you?
think they live. I think they're actually looking great.
Ooh, love it. So here we are, and we are able to just kind of shake and go. So I think Nicole is asking, if we have a part, what is it that we do? So if we have a part, they will absolutely be able to part their hair and you can work right off of that part. We're acting as if this is a center part because it's a textured wolf cut. We almost want it to live without a part for the first few weeks.
Yes.
And then by the time that, how often is it that you come and see me?
I come about every 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
And I will say, as my hair grows out in the last couple of weeks, I actually wear it in like a very off center part here. And I'm able to toss it over and have lots of texture and it'll wear to the side, especially when it's long. Right before. So it's not like it doesn't look good when you part it differently. It's definitely very versatile.
I love that. And I love how beautifully it just falls into place right now. So what we need to do, Sierra, is we need to connect the front and the back at this point right here. So do we want to have the back pop as well, or do we want it to kind of get gradually longer as we go back in the back?
I think gradually a little longer.
All right, perfect.
Because we've done the super short layers in the back before.
We have, right? And so that's part of this client relationship too, is we know that we have done this haircut or variations on this little wolf cut time and time and time again. So we can go with like what we liked or even what we didn't like to go forward as we go along. So this is going to be our transition area. It's going to be right here at the top of the ear. So at the top of the ear, we are going to start to rotate. So who was it that called out that do I need to pivot with these layers? So this would be the point right here at the top of the ear that we need to actually start pivoting with our layers. We like to think about the back as 4 sections. So if you can think about center back and top of the ear, you're dividing it down into quadrants, but then divide that down one more time and you get this thing that we call corner back. So right here, it's almost where the hairline is. That's going to be corner back down there. So we're going to elevate these hairs in the back here, and we're going to elevate them out the same way that we elevated out the fringe in the front. We're going to elevate them to that 45 above the horizontal 90. So the 45 above the horizontal 90 is going to give us a beautiful like rounded shape as well. So we're matching the roundness in the front, but just a little bit longer. So here we go. Let's go ahead and we will elevate. I'm going to take just a little bit lower than your parietal ridge at this point in time. And we're going to use a zigzag section at this point. So if you want to take a zigzag section, what you're going to want is you're going to want to use a comb that has like a little extra tooth on the end. Like these little Samvia combs have a nice little grabbing tooth on the end right here that you can literally place your finger right on, and you can draw yourself however deep of a zigzag that you want. So those zigzags are one of my favorite things right now. We do a lot of layers, but it is a nice way to open up that layer shape and have it just blended right in. So we're going to elevate that hair, and we are going to elevate that hair to the 45 above the horizontal 90. And now watch what we're doing. We're actually going to grab a little piece from top of the ear, and so that piece will become our guide. That's how we're keeping an eye on our guide right now. So as we have that guide, we can see it. I'm going to turn it back so you can see it. See the little short guide up there? If you see the guide, say, I see the guide. And we're going to adjust our finger angle so that it's short at the top and it gets longer on the way out. So since it's cooler weather, is it okay if this top is a little bit more textured than what we have been doing?
All good.
All good. Love it. So see, again, we keep checking in with our guest as we're going along. We're going to take, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fan that, and we are going to point cut deep into it with these nice chunky point cuts. Then once we have those little layers falling, we're going to keep it right where it was before, and we are going to now texturize while it's still elevated. Remember, the most perfect texture that you can put in the hair is going to be in the same exact elevation as what you cut it in. So we're going to grab again our Invisiblend shear, because that works great with fine hair, with hair that's been blonded and hair that is wavy. And Lingy has all three.
Trifecta.
The trifecta. So this is going to be that beautiful blending shear that never leaves a line in the hair. And what we're going to do with that is we're actually going to slide out from that shortest point. We're going to go, meow, 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 meow. I have to make the sound effect while you do it.
I love the noises.
It has a Pac-Man noise is how the sound effect goes, because it's biting as it's going, just like Pac-Man, right?
Chomping at the hair.
Lingy's like, whatever you say, Becca. So we can see as that's starting to move along, you're creating that layer shape that's going slightly longer as it moves back. Are you able to see the shape that we're creating there? We're creating this like beautiful little pop as we go along. So we'll work outside in. So we'll take our second section. Remember, we are visually reminding ourselves where that corner back is and where that center back is. And now, what kind of way are we going to part off this hair? That's right. We're still going to use the zigzag. Now, I've been loving a zigzag so much this season. I had somebody working with me and they were like, do you always part in zigzags? And I'm like, I don't actually, but I've been doing it so much lately. I don't know if it's like the 90s coming back again or what, but we are loving the zigzag. So the guide comes from the previous section. Yes, Kathy, we have to do the Pac-Man sound. It's just like, there's no question, right? So we've got the zigzag parting. We've got our elevation at 45 above the horizontal 90, and our finger angle, which is shorter at the top, longer at the bottom. Notice how we don't have as much to cut off in this next section because we've cut off the most, a medium amount, and then the least as we go back. So we're going to come in there. We're going to point cut first, just to go ahead and match what we did before. And then now everybody's favorite, we get to do the Pac-Man, right? With our Invisiblend shear. So we're going to come in there and go, You want to do it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes. So good. So that means that you are cutting it as you're sliding out. So it's a whole chop and then moving out. So for curly hair, do we cut it dry or do we cut it wet? Oh my gosh, that is an excellent question. So listen, we always cut curly hair dry as much as possible. It allows us to see what that shrinkage is going to look like the moment that we do it. So curly hair, wavy hair, we cut it dry. So would you like some helpful verbiage on how to talk to your guests that you're going to cut their hair dry next time they come in? Would that be helpful? I'm just parting off this other side back here in our little studio. And remember, we're going to part with that zigzag. This is top of the ear right here to corner back. So yes, let's give some verbiage about dry cutting. So when you're going to cut your guest's hair dry, tell them that you've discovered it is so helpful for the two of you to be able to collaborate on the cut as it happens. You've discovered this. I think that's one of the things that Sam taught me that I use every day in the salon. Rather than telling our guest that we learned something new, that might put them off just a little bit. Tell them that you discovered it. Make yourself into the craft person that you are. Tell them that you discovered this. You discovered that you're able to work on this haircut together if you're cutting it dry. So if you're cutting it dry and you're able to work on it together, you need for them to come in with their hair clean. So you request for them to come in with their hair clean and dry, and as it is that they would normally style it. So as it is that they would normally style it, which means that you need for them to have it combed out and with mostly just leave-in conditioner in it. You do not want for there to be any type of gel or any type of heavy product in it. And then what you will be using to help control the hair as you're cutting it is you're going to be using a cutting lotion. So we often recommend in the salon, we often recommend a Redken 1 United, or I'm going to spin you so you can see the parting. I'm going to turn your head right now. So again, we're still sticking with the little zigzag partings. We're using the tooth of our Samvia comb, and we're going to elevate this, and we are going to cut it. So let me show you how it would be that I would be prepping curly hair to cut. So again, we're going to be working with a cutting lotion. We're going to be working with a cutting lotion like a Redken 1 United or like a Mizani Miracle Milk. So Mizani is our curly haired line that Redken has teamed up with. And what we want to do is we want to just barely dampen the hair just a tiny bit. And we want to start to kind of smooth it out in between our hands. So at that point in time, you'll be working with smaller sections and you will be laying down that hair cuticle as you're cutting it, individual section by individual section. So it does take a little bit more time, but it also takes some prep work on the part of the guest. So here's what we've discovered. We can get anything in life that we ask for behind the chair, but we have to take charge of it myself, yourself, ourselves. We have to take charge of that. So if we're asking our guests to come in with clean and dry hair, they will do that because they want to get the best possible service. So even with coarser textures, I would absolutely encourage you to cut them in a dry manner because you can see exactly how far the hair is going to stretch back. So most curly haired guests have actually had some type of a bad experience with a wet cut, believe it or not. So here's the great thing. If we come in here and we have a haircut that looks like Lingy's, but this person that we're seeing in our chair is curly, we are going to be able to just cut off what needs to be cut off. So sometimes we overcut when we cut curly haired people and we cut them wet. Would you agree, Lingy?
Definitely.
Like,
you cut 1 inch, it looks like 3.
perfect. Thank you. Like you just like got direct to the point. So if we cut it wet, think about like if a hair like this is stretched all the way out. When I blow dry my hair, it looks at least 4 inches longer. So then you cut this little tiny piece off of the end and it goes boing and it springs all the way back up.
Mhm.
So if we can avoid that, that would be like the best thing to do to cut it dry. So I'm doing at this point about, I'm going to say 90% of my haircuts are dry in the salon,
Mhm.
and it just becomes an experience with the guest. So just because it's new, don't be scared of it. Offer this as an experience to your guest because they're getting to check in more often with their cut as you're moving along.
Mhm.
So let's check in. With that being said, let's check in with Lingy and see how this is doing. I'm going to have you look in this mirror right here and kind of fluff it around, make sure that it's going
Oh,
well.
it feels so good.
Does it?
Yes.
Does it need a little more product in it, or it's doing really well?
I feel like the product's good. I put some leave-in in it a little bit ago.
Excellent. Perfect. So now we did talk just a little bit about taking up your perimeter just a skosh, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this is what we're going to do. And this is going to be the final thing that we do. We're actually going to bring the perimeter up just a tiny bit right now. And we're waiting until last to do the perimeter because here's the thing. If a person has a bunch of long hair, they want to keep their long hair for the most part, right? It's like your partner. Like
Mhm.
Andrew has hair like down to, it's like Jesus length.
So
It's so beautiful. But we always want to cut layers first. And then we want to come back in and we want to nip those ends last because we're trying to grow this.
Mhm.
But we know that sometimes those ends get a little compromised. We all have these cute terms that we call them. We're like, they crunchy, they dry, they thirsty, but they're just compromised. They've been around with us the longest, right? So
Definitely.
imagine if your hair only grows like 8 inches a year, right? There's 8 inches, it's another 8 inches almost. This hair was with you 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was what, 2019?
Actually, this hair, I remember because we cut it out around the ear last December.
Last December. Aw.
Mhm.
This hair has a birth date coming up.
The mullet.
It's a
And then-
Sagittarius.
Ooh.
All right. So we're just going in here. We're just dusting this length a little bit. And that is going to be the very last thing that we're doing with Lingy. So I've been so excited to share with the rest of you that are on and let you know a little bit about what you can do to help out your dry cutting. Please let me know if you have any questions. Sierra, are you a Sagittarius? That's always the first question, right? Like we always want to know, like,
She is a Sag and she either just had a birthday or is about to have a birthday.
happy birthday to all my Sagittarius. All right, we're in here. We're just cutting the little perimeter as we're going along. We're just grabbing it with one finger, hardly any elevation, and just tapping into it. Because right now, Lingy and I are on the we're growing this hair out train. Whether or not we stay on the train for the whole, we don't know. Yeah, Sierra is a Sagittarius.
Oh, I love it.
The day before Thanksgiving. Happy birthday, Sierra.
I think it's my grandmother's birthday, actually.
Is it?
Yes.
Happy birthday, Nana.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're just handling as much hair as we can handle. We're cutting it with 0 degree elevation and we're cutting it all the way around. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
All right. As we're trimming those ends back here, notice that all we're doing is we're just doing a little bit of point cutting, little baby point cuts as we go along. Kat, you must have read my mind. Kat just asked, do I ever remove weight from the nape area? And I was looking at this cut and I was like, oh, I'm finished. And then I'm like, I am not finished. This is moving around beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
And this nape area is still a wee bit heavy. Do you mind if we get in there and we remove a little weight, Lingy?
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot. It's really thick back there.
Awesome. So Kat, get out of our heads. We needed to remove some weight. So now, especially since we've thickened those ends back up back here, we need to remove some weight. So Oh, Kelly, this is a great question. I'm going to answer your question as I'm parting off. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to part off in that same sort of zigzag so I can see the area that I've left behind that I have not texturized. So Kelly is like reading us, telling us that we need to remove the weight. So that's what we're doing right now.
She's on it.
Yeah. And then Kelly just asked, do I find that I'm not blending haircuts as much as we used to? So here's the great thing about this. Like when you are cutting dry, you are only going to give one haircut. Okay. I don't know if this sunk in. Say it with me, friends. One haircut. So one haircut is because we actually so often cut the hair wet, blow dry it all the way, and then cut the hair all over again. This removes that second haircut. So your guest is still able to get a shampoo and style if they want to at the end of this dry cut, but you do not have to cut it twice. So if that makes you happy, like give me a heart in the chat, give me a thumbs up, give me a clap emoji, whatever it is that you got. One haircut. It's nice to make the most of our time. So remember what we were parting before, where we were talking about that corner back right here at the hairline. And look at how nice this hair is. This hair is already texturized. We need to texturize this from center back to corners back is what we really need to texturize. So we're going to keep this elevation pretty low because I do like the fact that we're getting a little bit of weight down here. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to come in here. And what we're going to do is we are going to elevate below the horizontal 90. And we are going to start to bring our Invisiblend back to work. So as we open up this hair and as it moves and as it hits the floor a little bit here, we can go within the middle section of the hair to kind of take it and move our Pac-Man out. So you guys ready? We'll make the noise again. Ready? So we will move that out. And what you see that's happening here is the Invisiblend shear is actually coming into the hair horizontally to move that hair out. So we can see that this hair right here, hit my backdrop a little bit.
Do this.
Thank you. So we can see that this hair right here is going to be easily moldable and her waves will come back out. So again, that was from center back to corner back. We're going to grab center back to corner back on the left side right here. And we are going to do the same thing. So we are going to elevate out at the, or below the horizontal 90 is what we decided to do. And we're going to come into that middle section of the hair to do our texturizing. So why would we want to come into the middle section? The middle section of the hair is what's going to give it the most mobility. It's going to allow that hair to kind of move around and be really pliable as we come through there. So we've got that mobility as we move through. Ooh, that was some nice hair hit the floor right there. Look at all that hair you didn't need. It happens fast. It happens fast when it's dry, that's for sure. So now, to Kat's point, this hair is really beautiful in this nape area, and we can see that it's moving around a little bit more. Thank you so much. Perfect. So what we'll do is we're going to spray a little bit of product on this. We'll go back for our Mizani Miracle Milk because she does have that wavy hair. So we'll lift our hand. We'll spray it from the top just a little bit to kind of reactivate that curl pattern as we go along here. So we can rake through the hair with that product and shake it out and squeeze it in. And that will start to reactivate that curl pattern. All right, let's release those clips now and make sure that it looks good. Ah, so much better. It did need that weight removed. Let the clippings hit the floor, Tara says. Yes, we love to see the hair hit the floor for sure. And it's even better when it's a fun color like this. So
Just a rainbow of hair.
yes, Lingy is always changing her hair color, which, hey, here's a great hot tip. For those of you working on your Instagram feed, get you a model like Lingy because you can take photos over and over and over again and it always looks like a new person. So that's amazing. Awesome. So we're checking this in the mirror right now is what we're doing over here to the side. So let's check it in the monitor real quick. So as you're checking it in the mirror in the salon, what we want to encourage you to do is to hand style it as you're going for it. So a little less of the whole hairdresser fluff that we tend to do, or fluff it, but then start to really style it. Grab those pieces that you're wanting to pull out and start to kind of twist them around each other, almost as if you're opening a grocery bag. Like imagine that you're shopping for kale in the grocery store and you need to open that little plastic bag. Mm-hmm. So you want to go in there and you want to go and like move the hair around itself. Mm-hmm. I think we got a question saying, what face shape is this haircut best for? So here's the beautiful thing about a wolf cut, and here's the beautiful thing about a shag. You can build volume and reduce volume wherever it is that you need it. So let's say that there's somebody that has a really beautiful, like wide cheekbone, but they need a little bit more volume towards the top of their hair or a little bit more height. Right? We can go ahead and we can put the wolf cut on them. We can put a shag cut on them and like take that height up at the top where we love to see it and then kind of just contour it in around those cheekbones and then maybe fluff it out a little bit more. Let's say that we have somebody with a really long face and it's something that we want to like build some height onto because we want to add those wider lines. So this is a shape that can be customized for every single person. I think that's the thing that's the best about the wolf cut and about this type of shape. We can literally have it for anybody, and it is like the ultimate and cool rock and roll style because there's not so much that you have to do with it. We really are strongly encouraging our guests to get back to like styling with their fingers, pushing it where they want it to go, using a little bit of product and actually seeing what their hair naturally wants to do because you cut it dry, you cut it the way that they're wearing it. So it's going to be perfect for them when they basically just roll out of bed or when they go to the salon for their clients, right? Definitely. All right, friends, this has been such a brilliant, beautiful like day that we've had. I'm open to any more questions if there are questions.
I think you hit most of them really well. You're always great about hitting all the questions as they come in. So fantastic. And Lingy, your hair looks awesome.
Thank you. I love it. She kills it every time.
And also, thank you so much for being part of this today because your happy little energy really actually brought a lot of attention into the broadcast. So we appreciate you being here too.
Yeah, we love having our Sam Via models, right? Mm-hmm. We always take good care of them. I know that's one of the things that Sam taught us when dealing with models is that if the models are smiling and the models are happy, everybody's happy. So we take the best care of them.
No. I feel very
so
taken
true,
care of.
So true. Becca, thank you so much. And again, I think this was really cool because you did have that live model. We were also able to get some great tips on client consultation and interaction. So just beautifully done. As always, really approachable instruction that is really something pretty simple that we can take into the salon. So we appreciate you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.